Okay, in the previous class we were talking about various parts of the building and being very important. So, can I ask you to draw the, can you just come to draw the fan? Bring your fan. Okay, fine. Okay, so in the last class we were talking about the parts of a building. So people are telling us the various parts of the buildings which was there. Okay, sir. So when we saw, let us take a very simple building. Okay. In fact, today I was wanting to have a hostel block estimated. As civil engineers, we have two roles. One is planning, okay, planning out a building, and also we are also doing a lot of structural designs. Okay, we are expected to do that. And if you do anything, first and foremost, I always call this as the concept drawing or a line sketch, which is expected to be done. Okay, a concept drawing or a line sketch is always expected to be done, because once you have the concept clearly established, it's going to be very easy for you to do the actual layout. Okay, to do the actual layout, it's going to be very easy. It also helps you understand what are the parts or what you're going to do about something. Okay, so now let us do the concept drawing of a hostel block first, of a hostel room. I'm going to say that it's going to be a single room for a complex. It's going to be a single room, and guys, please sit towards the middle of the class. Just sit in the middle of the class. Thank you. Right. This is going to be a hostel room, and although like what I'll say is you can just do something else on similar lines when you get home. I am not giving you a choice in the size. So typically you are going to have a rectangle for the room. So this one, let us say it is having an attached bath. Okay, I am making it a little, having a little more components to make it a little more interesting. Okay, so but I can give you the choice in the design. Okay, now I can have a bath either like this or putting it in this manner. Which way can we do it? Okay. So now I got my bath. Okay. So typically I need to split this up as a toilet and a bath area. Okay. So that is one thing. Then I am going to keep a door. I am keeping my door here. I am going to presume that the bed is going to come here. Here I can keep a cupboard, built-in cupboard. Then after I have the cupboard, I am going to have some area for study. Okay, maybe a table. Okay, a television, whatever you want, we can put it in. So this is the concept of our. If you want to go and call, don't ask me permission. Okay, this is not a LKG class. Do it. Don't disturb. Don't worry. Go ahead. Please. Okay. Suppose there's any emergency, I have no problem with people. Right. Now, so we've got the entire thing done. We have to rationalize space. We cannot give indefinitely big room also. So, what do you think will be the size required for a cot? If you want, you can do it in your FPS, but give the answers in SI. One very important thing, whenever you are having a drawing, all dimensions are in millimeters, all the elevations or levels are in meters. This is a very fundamental rule. Okay. So, what would be the size of the bed required? 6 feet. Yeah, make it into meter. Roughly. 1.8 or so. Okay, 1.8. We can keep it as 2. Okay, I need 2 meters for the bed. Then what should be the width? Say 0.9 or 1 single bed. Huh? 0.8 or 1. So, okay, let's keep it as 1 itself, no problem, because this is just, we are not doing any very big rocket science thing here. Okay, now this side passage has to be at least 0.9 for a door, single leaf door. I am going to keep 1 meter as the width of the door. So I am going to keep passage 1 meter. This 1 meter is again going to be width of the door. So this one is fixed. Okay. Now what remains is, this is not to scale. This is definitely not drawn to scale since it's only a concept drawing. So I can just say that I can make this come up to here probably. Then say this is 1. So how much do you think you need? Okay, let's say, can we keep the toilet? I want to maximize the space utilization. Okay, so I will say that the toilet is here. Okay, and the bath area is on the other side. Okay, so I can, ideally you always keep the door in the place where a wall is. Okay, now here there is something which we have to think about. Here this is an area where there is water. Okay, there is water here. So definitely this wall is going to be kept as 250 mm or 230 mm, because if you keep a 115 mm partition between the living area and the wet area, water seepage may be there. Okay, so for that reason we are going to keep, and because of that reason keeping a door at this corner is also possible. Okay, so I can keep a door here. So whatever is the area, now what is happening is, what would be this length? So can we say that this is 0.6 is luxury, more than enough. Okay, and even 0.9 here is more than enough. Okay, again that's luxury. So that means this is the basic size of your house. This is the base, of this hostel room. Okay, this is the basic size of your hostel room, and yeah, this is 2 meters. How much can we keep this? 1 meter more than enough. Okay, so 3 meters, and if I keep this as 0.3, 0.5 won't be enough. Okay, I'll keep this as 1. Okay, so 4 by 2.5 is your entire thing. Okay, including this wall, we are keeping it as, yeah please sir, we are keeping this as 4 by 2.5. Okay, now we need to make this look a little more like a engineering drawing, right? No problem sir. So what we will do is, although I am not going to draw to scale, let us just draw the brick wall. Now this brick wall I am going to keep it as 250 itself, because alternatively I can keep, suppose there is going to be another room which is mirror of this, I can keep this as 115 wall. This side is wet, toilet is also going to be there on the other side, both sides are wet areas, so it doesn't matter. So I can take this as 115 thick wall. Okay, same thing, this is also enough to be a light partition. Usually this, this is a hostel room, so typically there is going to be 10 rooms like this across. Okay, so because of that reason I can make this also as a 115 thick brick wall. Okay, now I am just going to make a hatch here. This wall, if you are typically in a hostel, you are going to open into a corridor. Okay, so this also can be a light partition wall. However, this wall is most likely, this wall is going to be an exterior wall. So this is going to be a 230 thick brick wall. Okay, so this is the funda with which we are working out this one. So this can be made to look a little thicker. And we've got our, so actually speaking, what we did is we just tried to put ourselves in that place see how much practically we are going to be able to get a dimension, and we are getting this. Okay. So now this side will have a ventilator. Okay. Now I have to do this wall. This is again 230. So please bear with me. This is not absolutely not to scale. Okay. So this has got our bathroom in place. Okay. So usually this is at a slightly lower level. This is slightly lower level, so that water goes from here to here and not the other way around. And if suppose you have not planned your house, you will usually find that this portion is at a much higher level. Okay. So fundamentally we have covered whatever is going to be required. Here there is a 115 thick wall. Here you are going to keep shelves. Okay. So please remember the hatching. Okay. Now you remember we told that 115, what is the unit of measure for a 115 thick wall? Meter square, right? 115 light partitions are measured in square meters. Right. So this is done. Here again we got a brick wall. Right. Now in this room, okay, actually it's slightly longer. Okay, this bed, everything has to be accommodated. So dimensions you have to this one. So here I am going to call this. This is going to be 3 meters. Okay. So another 250 is going to come here, and from this 1 meter, if I remove that 750, acha, no problem. So let this be what we had thought, 1 meter itself. Okay, now you got your entire dimensions. Okay. It's totally auto scale, totally ridiculously auto scale. Okay. Now, any dimension is missed? Yes, this one. Fine. And another dimension which we have to give is this one. Very comfortable room for a single seater. Okay. Here we can give a window. I'm sorry if I'm rubbing. And here actually there is an opening for the door. In fact, here this line will not at all be there. Brickwork line will not be there. It will be like this. Okay, I'm terribly sorry for rubbing it off like that. Now, first and foremost, as I told, this gives you an idea as to how things work. Now, let us think of the items which you can compute from this, or what are the quantities which we are going to measure in this building. Okay, let's identify those. Hey, where is your notebook? This paper requires that you do a little bit of calculation. If you are not writing down, if you are not using a calculator, you are going to find it very difficult. Okay. Huh? Yes. You can, yeah, plaster area, then brickwork. Again, brickwork is there in two quantities, 250 mm and 125 mm. Okay. So beside that, brickwork. Okay, then I am going to probably introduce a new term called joinery. Most of the windows and doors of the previous, previous generation was made of a frame which was put together with some other parts. Okay. Now that was raw timber. We don't see much of that. Maybe in your homes you will be able to see it, but most of them are processed timber like this door which we have here. Okay, some plywood or something, pressed board. That's what we are doing now. But still the name joinery is just coming on, because all those were pieces of timber joined together. Okay. So here for instance we have doors, door, window and a ventilator. If you want, you can add exhaust fan and so many other things. Okay. So what else do we have? Have you missed anything else? Woodwork, yes. Then? Sorry? Flooring, very good. Yeah, we can do that. But let us, yes, we can put it also. We can do that, yes. RC work, I'll put RC work here. We can add whatever comes in RC work a little later. Okay. Then? Very good. Painting. So painting is again painting of joinery, painting of walls, ceiling, painting of ceiling. Okay, painting of ceiling includes the beams. Then painting of the sill area and other rebate area of the windows. All of this also come under painting. Okay, see, if you look at our building itself, you will see that there are a lot of projections on the outside. Okay, if you take the quantities of these projections, end of the day you will find that itself comes to a very huge quantity. If you miss it, it's going to be very troublesome. Again, most of the times although it's all painting, in this room it's all painting, but think of your house. The ceiling is some other kind of paint, the walls are some other kind of paint, in the openings, the windows you may give some other kind of paint. Okay, and if you look at the lintels projection, usually there they'll try to give a white color or something to contrast with the building. Sometimes the cost of that paint may be different, maybe even more than the other paint. So if you are going to quantify separately, it is actually going to be quite beneficial. Okay, so this is just a general point about painting which I wanted to tell. Okay, besides painting, any other item is there? See, here we may use a cement platform, okay, like a precast cement unit. It might be that, it might be a kadapa stone or something like that. Okay, so for the shelf, some material is there. So can I call it as a precast slab? So precast slab is there. Okay, then wiring, very good plumbing. Sanitary fittings. Okay, electrical wiring stroke electrical works. Okay, wiring stroke electrical works. This about covers the finish items and other things, because structurally the concrete works would be the beams, slab beams and columns, and after you do that you will be doing the lintels and sunshades. Okay, this is something which you see everywhere. Okay, so I want you guys to just imagine a little bit. Okay, now I would like to show you one more part of this building. Probably you know that, but just in case I am going to talk about that also. See, this toilet has a portion that goes below. This might be the floor level, finished floor level. but there is something below the toilet. Okay, so it means that that portion of slab is going to be sunken. It may be anything from 600 to 900 mm that is required for it to be sunken. Recently I saw a toilet with a very small requirement. Yes, I saw this in TT, that SJT. If you see the SJT toilet, the Indian style squat toilet doesn't have much space here. So it has very little space, and it means that much more the sunken slab can be saved upon. So what happens is, you will sink the slab. This will be the outer wall. The slab is locally sunk in the toilet area. So this will be the slab, and when you bring it in this shape, this portion will automatically act like a beam. Okay, so this will act like a beam, and you'll have a slab here, and this will be resting on a special slab. You will have to work out some arrangement to support the slab at a lower level. You will have to make some special arrangements to support the slab at a lower level. So usually that's why in many of the houses, instead of sinking this, they'll make it about 2 steps high before you can do it. Now the space, this will have a small cross slope. This will have a small cross slope, so that water flows into the toilet. Then this space is filled with what is known as brick jelly. Brick jelly is nothing but broken bricks or surki in some mortar. They fill it up. Then on top of it, your flooring is going to come. Maybe it's tiles, maybe it is something else. Okay. So this is the cross section which you will see when you take it like this. When I cut the toilet and see, this is what I am going to see. Okay. So you are not going to make a deduction for this toilet which is there. Brick jelly, when you calculate, you will calculate as if it is fully filled only. So this will be anything from 600 mm to 900 mm. Okay. So this is one of the items which probably you might have missed out. Okay. So we will start now with the actual calculation of quantities. We will start with the actual calculation of quantities. Okay. I want you to make a note of this, then make this table serial number, item, unit, numbers, length, breadth, okay, actually before we go, we need to do one more thing. We need to get a cross section in place. Here length and breadth is there, but what about the height? Height is not known, no? What? Yeah. If you guys want water, you can take. Like bring your own water bottles. Right. So as I was telling, we'll have a cross section of this done. Let us assume that this is on the ground floor. Okay, I'll do one thing. We will not do the RC work now. RC work we'll take it up as a second stage. It's not rocket science. Believe me, it's not rocket science. But anyway, let us take it as a second phase. Okay. So like yesterday we were talking about the parapet. So let me start from the parapet wall. So typically at least you have to keep 0.9 meters as the height of parapet minimum, or you can even keep 1 brick high parapet without roof access. GDN building does not have parapet work. You go up the medical center and look at GDN, you'll find that there's no parapet wall, only one brick. Even in fact here also we got only a one brick high this one parapet. So then below the parapet wall you have the roof. If this is the parapet, you will be doing a weathering course. Okay, the weathering course, depending on the technique you use, topmost will be pressed tiles with brick jelly mortar below that, and or there might be some other compounds which are now evolving. In any case, we are going to measure it in meter square, so it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, then roof slab, beam. Okay, so this is brickwork. This is RCC work. Then again below this we got brickwork. Sometimes what happens is, this might be a 300 wide beam, so you will find that there is a slight projection of the beam into the building, but more or less we try to keep it flush. Flush means the same plane. Okay, so here it's going to be flush. I am going to keep a section mark here so that I don't have to do the entire thing. Then I got to do a lintel. Okay, and then below the lintel we have another slab. This will be the floor slab. Okay, so suppose this is one of the top levels. This is how it's going to be. If suppose it's not a top level, then what happens is you will go for the foundation. I am continuing this portion. Okay, now your slab could be just resting. It doesn't have to be integral with the column, etc. It doesn't have to be integral with the column. It can just rest on the finished ground. Okay, you are going to finish the ground and keep it. So this will be the finished ground level, FGL. This will be the finished floor level. Okay, usually you will have another term called TOC, bottom of concrete. This is TOC is top of concrete, BOC bottom of concrete. So this will be the finished floor level. This is this floor which we are talking about. Okay, so on top of this will be the top of concrete. You got a flooring on top, making this as the finished floor level. Below this you will have well compacted soil. Okay, you will have well compacted soil in this area. Okay. Then you will have a plinth beam at a level slightly below the ground level. Okay, you will have a plinth beam at a level below the ground. Your brickwork will extend to this point. Typically we will be at least going for 900 mm below the finished ground level as a minimum. You can go up to 1 meter depending on the requirement. Now why does this have to go like this? So this will be another 450 mm say. So why are we doing this? Suppose somebody starts to dig here, then the soil which is compacted here will start to flow out. When it flows out, this flooring is going to have all sorts of problems. In some of the houses on the ground floor when you walk, you'll hear a hollow sound. That's because the sand has got washed away or it has flown out of this filled area. Okay, so it means that this filling is also to be estimated by you. Okay, this fill is also to be estimated by you, and brickwork is not from the top of floor level. It's not only from here that the brickwork is extending. Brickwork is extending from much below the ground. Okay, brickwork is actually extending from much below the ground. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Actually, what it is this top is 900. This will be 450. I am very sorry. This is not to scale. By no means this is to scale. And I don't know if I had drawn the whole thing whether I would have made it visible. I'll try my best to get an AutoCAD thing done of this section and share it with you. Okay. So this is a typical section which we have. Okay. So now, sorry. It doesn't need to. Yeah, I'm sorry. It can come like this. But you can also stop it before. There's absolutely no problem. Usually in many of the industrial things, we keep a gap there and fill it up with some rubber sealant. Okay. Now, are all the details which we need are there? More or less. Is there anything which is missing? No. Okay. So, what happens is the dimension from the bottom of the lintel to the top of floor will be 2.1 meters. Standard door height is 2.1 meters. This is a standard. Okay. Now I'll just make a few things. So height of this brick wall. Okay. Suppose I'm going to keep this as 350 mm and 2.45. This is almost nothing. This becomes almost nothing. 2.45 plus another 1 meter. Okay. This is 1 meter. So 3.1, 3.45, 3.5 meters is the height of the ceiling. 2.1 till the bottom of the lintel. 0.35, another 1 meter. And here this will be 500 mm. Or I can keep this as 450 mm. 450 is good enough. 450 plus 125 thick slab. 675 mm is the depth of your beam. Okay. So for a hostel building it's more than enough. It's in fact abundant. See, this has a very small span. The span is very less. So 650 deep. I'm sorry, 575 mm deep is very deep for this site. Okay. So now this wall height would be 1 plus 3 point, not even 1 plus 3.1. It is 550. This is 550. So this height of brick wall is 550 plus 2.1. Okay, 550 plus 2100, which is equal to 2650 mm from finished floor level. From finished floor level, height is 2.65 meters. If suppose I am going to go from finished floor level, okay, this is another extra 900 mm. Okay. So below the flooring, (900) minus 125 mm. I'm having this floor slab as 125 mm thick. 125 mm thick floor slab, and yeah, because I'm bringing this floor slab into the, I'm bringing this floor slab into, okay, I'm sorry, it is going to be more. See, here we have to keep 3 steps at least. Okay, I forgot this. So this is going to be from here 450. Okay. So from here, can I call this 125? I'll just make it 125. 250, 375 mm. Sorry? This is 375 mm. So if I'm going to reduce this slab, it will be 250 mm. So 250 plus 900. So it has to be 250 plus 900. I'll just give you 2 minutes. You study this drawing, draw all the components so that we can be confident about the thing we are doing. If you have any doubt in any of this, please ask. And this step, suppose this is going to have steps. This step is not here. This steps is not here. This steps will be beyond the corridor to the main entrance to the hostel. Okay, I am just indicating that the steps is there so that you understand that there is a height from finished ground level to finished floor level. Below the finished ground level, you go 900 mm of brickwork. Clear? So if you have any doubt in this, please ask. Which 550 mm? This one. See, this is the top of the lintel. Okay, from here, bottom of the beam, bottom of that beam. Yeah, roof beam. From that till the lintel, you got a gap, right? Is that gap?
So the total height should be 2.1 plus 0.35 for this.
Lintel.
Plus 1 meter.
Yes, 1 meter. This is the breakup of that 1 meter. This is the breakup of that 1 meter. Okay. No. What happens is this slab is 125 thick. Again, this is not to scale. That's why this slab is 125. This slab is 125 mm thick. Slab is 125 mm. That's why 250 is good. Can I give you? I'll give you 5 minutes. You draw the entire thing to your this one. Okay. Take 5 minutes. Draw it again so that you are clear with what we are measuring. Okay.